Saturday will be the biggest test of the season, no doubt, for Tennessee football, but specifically Nico Iamaleava, as a freshman quarterback, continues to lead this Tennessee football team to historic sites and places for the Tennessee football program. But what Joey Halzle said earlier today about Nico's decision-making continuing to improve will probably be the greatest asset of this team heading into Columbus to take on an Ohio State team. Paige Stauer alongside Jimmy Himes. That was probably the main point of the press conference earlier today when Joey Halzle was like, yeah, Nico, he doesn't blink. His decision-making in the back half of the season was a lot better than the beginning parts of the season. And he says it's because you can't replicate game reps. As much as you try to in practice, there is nothing like live bullets. And we can see that in that freshman kind of year, he really is starting to look like that sophomore quarterback already here in the last half.
Yeah, and the part about you can't replicate the game reps, that's one reason I was thinking, pump the brakes on this guy as a Heisman Trophy candidate. Let's get him some snaps. Let's get him more experience. Just the fact that he had a really good game against Iowa did not mean, okay, that translates into a Heisman guy. But I think the second half of the year, he's been a better decision-making. He has been more quick with his decision-making. He's been more assertive in what he's doing. And Paige, if you look at the last 5 games of the season, he's got 11 touchdowns and 1 interception, and that's actually 4.5 games because he didn't play the second half against Mississippi State. 3 of those last games, he threw for over 200 yards, and in 3 of those last games, he had a passing efficiency of 195 or better. 150 is pretty good. You get into that 195 range or better, that's impressive. So he has made great work the second half of the year. He's been very solid in what he has been able to do. I think he actually turned the corner the second half against Alabama, and he has carried that momentum into the last 5 games.
At Wallace Real Estate, trust is more than just a word. It's been our foundation since 1936. Whether you seek backyard adventures or a quiet spot for your morning coffee, we understand what makes a house a home. Our agents are here to simplify your home journey and to lead you through the process, whether buying or selling. With Wallace Real Estate, you're getting more than guidance. You're gaining a local partner dedicated to bringing your dreams to life. Start your real estate journey at wallacetn.com.
And when we look at the complete season, his most complete game had to have come against Vanderbilt, especially with how the way the game started. I mean, you have just 4 snaps and somehow you're already down 14-0. And then you come back and you have that 86-yard bomb to Dante Thornton, and that just resets the entire game. But it was his composure. I mean, Joey Halzle was like, I called down to the field and I was like, how is everybody? And everyone was like, no, we're fine. We'll take care of it. We know what's coming. And what was coming was a few nice touchdowns from Nico Iamaleava to a number of different wide receivers, from Dante Thornton to Mike Matthews, and that just really highlighted how much growth he was able to make when it comes to his decision-making and getting through his progressions. Yeah,
and as I said, he didn't blink, and he mentioned that he got a lot more snaps, a lot more game to play. Just because you're down a couple touchdowns doesn't mean it's over. No reason to panic, and they didn't. And God, from that point on, they outscored Vanderbilt like 30 points. So that was really impressive, the way they bounced back. And there was a lot of angst among the Vol Nation. There's probably more angst among the fan base than there was a Tennessee team. But what they did against Vanderbilt, that was a very important drive when they were down 14-0 to answer. And not only did they answer, I think it put Vanderbilt on its heels a little bit. So I thought that was very important for Tennessee to bounce back like that. And look, let's face it, there have been a lot of teams in Tennessee's position late in the year that got upset, right? Tennessee didn't. And that was a game that they really needed to help make sure that they would be in the college football playoff.
And when you look at what Nico has been able to do as a freshman, you see what we did with Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton, those being veteran-type quarterbacks. They've been great mentors for Nico, really his entire tenure here at Tennessee. And now he's kind of turned into one of those mentors and leaders for the Tennessee football program, and kind of even being relied on here now that we're inside game week. And I just think him coming into his own in the back half of the season, whether on the field or off the field, has really helped him to gain his confidence and be ready to go on the road in a night game in potentially cold weather against Ohio State.
Yeah, he said that his mentors told him stay hungry and stay humble. And I think he has done that. You mentioned cold weather. He did say that, yeah, he played in cold weather once. He was in Chicago. He was playing in a 7-on-7 tournament there, and they got to the semifinals. Now, I think he mentioned that he threw a couple of touchdown passes
up there.
He did,
and that's a key takeaway.
Yeah,
it was cold, snowing, and you threw a couple of touchdowns. Can you replicate that against the Buckeyes?
Yeah. So I don't think it'll have a huge impact. Joey Halsley talked about that too. Look, you try to prepare for the game, but once you start playing, I don't think cold weather is going to be a huge factor for either team. And yeah, I know Ohio State's more used to playing in it, but I don't think that's going to be a big factor for Tennessee. Big Orange Pickleball is a state-of-the-art multi-million-dollar facility designed to serve the growing demand for pickleball in this area. Located at 7729 Strawberry Plains Pike, it's one of the premier indoor pickleball venues in the nation. It has 6 sport master cushion courts, a climate-controlled environment, and customized LED lighting. To find out more, go to bigorangepickleball.com or call 865-465-7920. Salon Visage has been voted Knoxville's best salon for more than 20 years and one of the top 25 salons in America. Salon Visage offers elite, innovative, and specialized services by highly trained colorists and hairstylists. Salon Visage is located at 1701 Downtown West Boulevard. The Visage Group also has 2 barbershops, one at Downtown West and one at 304 South North Shore Drive. A.G. Hines Company. They've been around for over 100 years, selling building materials since anyone can remember. And I tell you, the thing I take away from Tennessee is how excited these players and these coaches are to play in this game. You know, from Brew McCoy to Bryson Eason, they were talking about how they were doing some backflips when they learned that they were going to be in the college football playoffs. So I think this is a very excited team. I think it'll be a well-prepared Tennessee team. And I expect them to play well when they go to the Horseshoe.
Yeah, and part of that conversation, you know, they kind of always ended it with like, well, we know it's going to be a big game. We know we're going against a well-coached team. And that was kind of the main messages from Joey Halsley and Nico Iamaleava today, is making sure you have that internal clock and that you can have trust in your offensive line, especially in the tackle position, because OSU, their defense has 35 sacks on the year for more than 230 yards. And Nico's like, I've always had an internal clock. I trust my O-line to pick up the pressure, to help pick up the blitz. But being able to have success against a defensive line that likes to bring the pressure could prove pivotal in this game.
Yeah, it could. And Tennessee's tackles have struggled from time to time against really elite pass rushes, and Ohio State has that. And so Nico's got to get rid of the ball. Here's the other thing, too. For him to do that, his receivers also need to get open. They need to be where they're supposed to be. And he may have to throw it away a few times just to avoid a sack. And if the tackles are having problems, then you can always put a tight end over there to help. Maybe you can use a running back to help chip a pass rusher to help the offensive tackles in that regard. But that's going to be important for Nico to stay out of bad down and distance situations. And I think his decision-making has led Tennessee to being able to stay away from that. But again, I'll go back to this. The receivers have to help out. They got to get open. They got to run the right routes. And if they do so, and the passing game clicks, and I think Tennessee will be okay. Litton's in Fountain City, proud supporters of Tennessee athletics. When you're hungry, remember Litton's for the best burgers and the best desserts in town. Andrews Physical Therapy at Blaine and Strawberry Plains. That's where I've gone to rehab my knee, my shoulder, my elbow. When rubbing a little dirt on it ain't enough. Ogle Brothers General Store in Sevierville is the best place to shop in the Smokies. They offer clothing, food, candy, toys, locally made arts and crafts, souvenirs, and more. The goal is to pay tribute to the rich history of farm life in East Tennessee and Southern Appalachia. Visit them at 1640 Parkway or call 865-366-1485.
And I think what should give, Vol fans and the team the most confidence is hearing Joey Halsley say he gets through his progressions really fast. He's very decisive in his decision making. That's what we saw against Vanderbilt. And now that you've had, 3 odd weeks to get prepared for Ohio State. And I know he mentions you can't really replicate game reps too much, but being able to see real film of him making these quicker decisions, I think should give him confidence that he'll be able to do that in a massive playoff game.
Yeah, and they're going to go against a defense that doesn't make a lot of mistakes. As we heard, they don't have many busts in coverage. They're very sound in what they do. They're physical up front. They can rush the passer. It's one reason they led the nation in total defense and in points allowed. So Tennessee's going to have to be on its P's and Q's. They're going to have to play close to mistake-free. They're not going to be mistake-free. They're going to have some penalties. That's going to happen. What you don't want to have happen is that for the Ohio State crowd to get involved and all of a sudden you got illegal procedure. Now it's 1st and 15.
Yeah.
You got to avoid that kind of stuff in Tennessee. And I think that this is a poised enough team to be able to handle that when they go to Ohio State.
They've been listening to enough crowd noise during practice that hopefully you aren't seeing these self-inflicted penalties where you're immediately behind the sticks on the 1st or 2nd down. And I think if they can control what they can control, then I think hopefully everything else falls into place. And before we get too ahead of ourselves and start talking, game matchups, offense versus defense, that's what we'll have coming up on Wednesday and Friday, comparing the two offenses, the two defenses, who has the edge, who might struggle a little bit. Hopefully Tennessee will end up prevailing, but make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on those upcoming conversations. Of course, we'll have part 2 on the Rewind on Thursday with Jimmy Himes and VFL Jay Graham. So again, make sure you're subscribed, stay locked in, and we'll talk to you guys on Wednesday.
We have an exceptional group of attorneys that work here. We're all trying to be better attorneys, be better advocates for our clients, be better people.
It makes me proud to be part of the team when I see how much the attorneys care about their clients.
It's truly one vision. I feel like every single person who works here has that same vision, and that's to treat all of our clients like family.
We've developed such a tight-knit team. Everyone is unified in being selfless in their representation.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.